As we go about trying to understand the nature of narcissism, I have two ongoing goals. One is I want you to learn the mind of the narcissist so that as you engage with them, you'll understand that even though they want you to think that you're crazy, you're not. I want you to understand how they think so that you can respond in a more informed way. And then two, one of the things I'm hoping is that you can stay challenged to examine yourself. You know, narcissism is a characteristic or a pattern that's on a spectrum, and we each can have some of the ingredients, but those of us who are trying to grow and have maturity want to keep that at a bare minimum so that other healthy characteristics can come through. Now, today I'm going to want to talk about two words that distinguish the narcissistic from the healthy form of life, and those are the words inward and outward. Now, when I say inward, I'm referring to the fact that the narcissist is self-centered. That's their inward nature. They consult with one person, and when you know it's me, I don't want to consult with you. Whereas when I talk about being an outward person, the characteristic I'm focusing on most there is conscientiousness. You realize that you live in community and you want to conduct yourself in such a way that the community is benefited by your presence. So what I'd like to do is I want to just go through some characteristics that are part of that narcissistic bent that show you how inwardly they think. And it's like they only have to take consultation from themselves because the rest of the people out there are just a bunch of idiots. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. When we talk about that self-centered, inwardly focused narcissist, one of the things we realize is they're very easily irritable and upset. And keep in mind, what does that say? The more annoyed a person can be, the more it's their way of saying, do you know who I am? Why are you treating me this way? And they can take upon themselves a victimization role very quickly because I have to be the center of attention and you are not doing it correctly. Or in that inward way of thinking, there's one person who's right. Well, and since they think inwardly, it's me. And they have a hard time reconciling themselves to the fact that there are plenty of other intelligent or insightful people out there that might have an angle about life that they need to incorporate. It's like, nah, I don't need to think that way. It's just, I'm right and that's all I need to know. You're wrong. Well, that being the case, then the inwardly focused persons, when they do speak outwardly toward you, they give you advice that you didn't ask for. It's like, well, since I have the corner of the market on intelligence and skill set, then you need to be like me. And so as they give you advice, they're trying to make you conform and fit their conditions and agenda. In addition to that, and this kind of goes along with what I'm already saying, that inwardly focused person doesn't really care about your thoughts and feelings and interpretations. When they have such a self-centered focus, it's like, why would I care about what anybody else thinks and feels? My way is the only way that really matters. Go away. Or in addition, whenever there's something wrong that happens in the relationship, well, they're so impressed with me that, well, the wrong has to be with you. And so their inward focus can't allow themselves to take that hard inventory saying, well, if there's a difficulty here, let me see how I contributed to it. It's like, the answer to that question is already settled. There's nothing wrong with me. Or in addition, they feel like they need a little guidance. Since they're so impressed with themselves, it's like, why would I need to hear from anyone else? I don't care what you think. I am the ultimate. Everything I'm saying so far falls under the category then of conceit, entitlement. They like to have things go their way. They want things to make them look better. They don't like to have to do menial chores that would make them feel like they're part of the common folk out there. Servitude is not something they enjoy because that entitled element keeps them from just being a regular person. In their inward focus, they can be very defensive because when someone from out there says, well, I just don't like the way you handle this, that's such a damage to their soul for you to say, hey, let's talk about your humanity. It's like, I can't deal with that. I can't handle it because I have to be special. And so that's how they process. Now, in addition with that, They can be very persuasive, and they can be very free in sharing their opinions because they're so impressed with themselves that surely other people who are in my presence are going to benefit if they can just learn to think like me. In addition, there's a general non-cooperation. Sometimes they can do it in a covert way where they just are evasive and they're lazy or they're dismissive or they're just in general not willing to do whatever it is you want. Sometimes their non-cooperation comes through with arguing and just forcing their own way no matter what anybody else says. But either way, it's like I set the pace around here. Nobody tells me what to do. And then how about this last one? They blame you for being self-centered. Now, everything I'm talking about is part of their self-centered nature. And rather than saying, yeah, that really is a problem and I need to get on top of that, it's like the reason that I'm having so many difficulties in my relationships is I've got all these selfish people hanging around out there that don't know, what they're doing. It's crazy how they can think, but they can rationalize in that odd kind of way. Now, let's take a look at the better alternative. When we see how that narcissist can be so inwardly focused and so self-centered, let's think in terms of how an outwardly focused person can be in a much more healthy way. And keep in mind, as I talk about being an outwardly focused person, I'm not talking about being a doormat to the narcissist or anything like that, but I'm talking about understanding that you live in community and having a general sense of conscientiousness. Conscientious is a very rich word and has many kind of meanings. For example, the outwardly focused person can be attentive. They like to notice things about other individuals and then bring that into the way that they engage. I see this about you, or I notice that this is important. Tell me about it. So they like knowing and hearing and understanding about others. Outwardly focused people will remember details about someone else's lives. Now the narcissist can remember details, but so that they can manipulate better. But the conscientiously outwardly focused person says, if I'm going to get to know you, I want to know what's important to you and some of the experiences and events that you've been through. Talk to me. I want to know who you are. And so they remember things from one visit to the next about you, and they like to bring it into the interactions. Conscientious, outwardly focused people genuinely enjoy being helpful. Now, a narcissist is like, no, you serve me. The conscientious person says, hey, we're all in this together. I don't mind taking on menial tasks, or if there's something that I can do that may not have been on my agenda, I can set my agenda aside long enough to tune into yours. Outwardly focused people can be disciplined and they can be consistent in the way that they manage things. In other words, there's a reliability. Now, the narcissistic inwardly focused person may be very disciplined, but it's all because I've got an agenda and you're supposed to do what I do. That conscientious person, that's not their mindset. It's just like, no, I genuinely want to make sure that we're all coordinated well with one another. Outwardly focused people will emphasize ingredients like integrity. Knowing that they have to engage with other people, they want to be known as trustworthy, and they want to be known as somebody whose word is their bond, whereas that inwardly focused person, that integrity doesn't mean anything, just getting my way is what they want. Outwardly focused people learn from their mistakes. When something goes wrong, rather than saying, well, it can't be me, it's like, I'm fully aware that there are times when I may do something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't really fit with what everybody else is wanting. So what do you people out there have to say? And what might I be able to learn? Give me some feedback. And healthy people are willing to go that path. Outwardly focused people are companionable. They like to be uplifting. They like to be encouraging. They know that they like to receive goodwill. And when it's the narcissist, it's like, okay, that's enough. But knowing that they like to be the recipient of goodwill, conscientiously outwardly focused people say, well, I know you do too. So they look for ways that they can comfort or be open with other individuals and let them know some of the things that they like about them. Outwardly focused people will manage their anger in a clean way. Now, notice I'm suggesting they can have anger, but it's not going to be done in such a way where it's just me trying to impose myself over you. outwardly focused people know that when there's a conflict, I have my needs, but you have yours, and I want to see if we can manage this in such a way where we each get to walk away with our dignity intact. Outwardly focused individuals know how to blend well with other individuals. And when I say with other individuals, it doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're on. You may be somebody that's an extremely accomplished person. You may be somebody that's kind of down in the dumps, but they can deal with a wide range of people rather than thinking you have to be just like me. And then why don't we say outwardly focused people know how to forgive? The conscientious person says, I know that I have my flaws. I know you have yours. Let's make sure that we can live in community knowing that there are just times when we have to make room for the fact that we each make mistakes. So I'm hoping as you're able to make this comparison and contrast, you realize that the narcissist is going to come at you with one person and one person alone in mind. Whereas I'm hoping that as you engage, you can realize, that's always a possibility for me. I'm capable of that, but I don't want to be that person. And so as you give yourself in such a way where there's a real healthy engagement with other people and each individual gets to walk away with a sense of dignity and respect, that is a lifestyle worthy of aspiring to. By the way, I do want to make you aware, I've got a buddy here who's pretty outwardly focused. Some of you already met Gus, and Gus is a pretty conscientious kind of guy. He just wanted to stop in today and say hello. He tends to sit with me a whole lot anyway. Now, you'll see underneath the video the subscribe button, and I would invite you to hit the subscribe button. We'd love to keep you apprised of when new videos come up. There are also tabs underneath that'll connect you with some of my books and online workshops. And Gus just wants you to know that he wants you to be a healthy person, just like he's an outwardly focused guy when he's with his daddy like this. I'll see you next time.